Emotions are the triggers of selling. So the first thing I want you to do with handling objections is to always understand that questions are the answers. In handling objections, the questions that you ask or the questions that they ask you will give you the answers to the objection. Realize that. The 3 things necessary to make a decision for your prospect. And I know that a lot of you are new, so we got to really work on this, is your product knowledge. Keep working on your product knowledge. And the way you do that is being on these webinars and getting in the website and all these different tools that Damien has given you. And know your product. The more you know your product, the more you can be a PPS. Write this down. Professional problem solver. See, I believe that it's very important that each and every one of you handle every objection right now. Because right now, our country and the world is at a very interesting place. And the number one thing they need is sales. And without marketing, there are no sales. You see, they've done a lot of research that of the 100% of the businesses that open up January 1st, by December 31st, 97% of those businesses will be closing their doors. Why? Well, because they lack sales. Where do sales come from, guys? Marketing. Marketing. So you've got to really start believing how important that if you don't handle these objections and you don't close them, and remember, I taught you in the last webinar that closing means opening up the relationship. In fact, I don't even know why they call it closing. Because if you don't close them, you're never going to talk to them again, and you're not going to be able to support them and serve them. The next thing, you've got to have knowledge of people skills. That's where I come in, guys. I am the best at this. That's why all my mentors handed the baton to me and said, you're the one we want to carry our torch, and I am. So we're going to work on that today. And number 3, you got to know your paperwork. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of times if you don't know your paperwork well enough, when you're negotiating, it stops the flow. And when it stops the flow, they start thinking about why they shouldn't buy it. You understand? So it's very important that you, even if you don't want to use one of the forms or the credit apps to fill in, start practicing them so that you flow through that. And when I mean flow, I mean that the words you say move them through the whole paperwork, for whether it's for the credit app or the paperwork, okay? Now, emotions are the triggers of selling. Why do I tell you that? Because here's what we're paid for, guys. The bottom line of what you're going to learn, for some of you, this is going to be reinforcement right now. Stimulus, pause, response. From this moment on, every stimulus you get, which is an objection, you're going to pause and be able to respond by using the training I'm about to unload on you. So, stimulus, like I want to think it over. Stimulus, like I don't have my budget. Stimulus, like it costs too much. Any one of those stimuluses and much, much more, you're going to be able to stop and pause and then count 1001, 1002. I call it my Count 2 program. All of you have it in investigative selling. It's called Count 2. Pause, 1001, 1002, and then response. Why do I say that? Well, I find that when we're working in our certain industry, like this industry, the mobile apps industry, that a lot of salespeople tend to think that they know what the objection that they're going to say is. And we find that a lot of times that when you jump in because you've been doing it a little bit or you're getting pretty good at it, you are handling the wrong objection. Now you don't have 1, you have 2. So stimulus, pause, count 2, 1001, 1002, and then response. How do we do that, Omar? Practice, drill, and rehearse. Write this down for those of you taking notes. Perfect practice. How many of you have ever walked into a health club and seen someone working out wrong, or an aerobics class? Or how about jogging down the road and you see them jogging, you're going, oh my God, they're going to hurt themselves. Why? They might be running, but they're running wrong. That's not smart. That's called practice, but you're going to get injured. Just like in selling. When you don't perfect practice, you might be going through the process, but you're not going to make the sale. So I remember when I first went through all the training, and I was really good at my presentation, and I had people coming up to me and saying, wow, you just got up there and did your presentation for us, and I got to tell you, you got to be the best I've ever seen. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, thank you so much. And then another person came up and says, you know, I've seen a lot of great people do this presentation, but you got to be the best I've ever seen. And I thought, oh, wow, thanks so much. And then I thought, wait a minute. If I'm the best they've ever seen, why am I not making any money? Well, what it was, guys, is I had memorized my script, but I forgot that selling and negotiation is a human element. And if you don't get each and every one of your customers and clients involved, meaning if you're talking to someone who owns a flower shop, they're going to have different challenges and different problems, if you will, than someone that is a chiropractor or a dentist or an attorney. So what I'm trying to say to you is to focus on whatever it is. I know a lot of you, because I've gotten to know some of you, are focusing on certain targets, certain markets. Whatever that market is, make sure that you are bringing them into it, so when you negotiate, you're not just making a presentation. And by the way, if they don't object, then they're not really serious about it. Did you ever notice when someone really wants it, they have questions, they have objections, they're interested, they want to kind of like get into it with you? But did you notice when they're just like tire kickers, meaning a tire kicker is somebody that doesn't want to, you know, buy, they'll let you do the whole presentation and not even, they said, oh, that was great. And you're like, wow, that was great. Yeah, come and see me in 2 weeks. Call me. I want to think it over. Or I got to talk with somebody else. And guess what? You just talked to someone that wasn't qualified properly, because they are not going to buy. So practice, drill, which means drill by recording yourself, whether you can use a camera, a nice little recorder, or even better, drill yourself with someone in front of you, like a loved one or a colleague, and then rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Now, I did that because I wanted to set the premise for all of you, because I believe that setting the premise for negotiations and objections is very important. So now we're going to get into it. The first thing that I find in the investigative principle that I have to work on anyone that wants to become better on negotiations and objections is qualifying. You see, I believe, and I know because it took me 5.5 years to write this program, I believe that this program, I'm going to get that out of the way,